Good afternoon, Gopal. Welcome to your final correction of the sentence guide course. It's Andrew again. Nice to see you've made such significant improvement, and it's nice to see you turning in these last pieces as well. I do wish you all the best in your exam. I'll try to give you a decent amount of last-minute pointers and suggestions before you take it on. So I can see already that your personal opinion is that it is mixed, that the positives and negatives are many, and that studies should be done before making such decisions. See, I like the word coercing, personally, but I think it might be a bit strong here. We could talk about the fact that the policy promotes movement, or encourages movement, or incentivizes movement. But when we say coerce, we usually mean that it's against someone's will, that they don't actually want to do it, that it's by force. And a policy, by its nature, cannot force anything. The enforcement of that policy could force, but then it would be coercing. The coercement would be from the authorities, from the police. So I would stick with to promote, to incentivize here. From urban to remote locations has brought a hot debate regarding its positives and negatives. This essay will discuss both. Cool. On the one hand, the decentralization of manufacturing industries provides a myriad of economic prospects for local people, along with meeting the demands. The demand for goods, or the demand for... We need to expand this. We need to know what this is. Just a little bit, maybe a couple of extra words here to go into a little bit more detail. For example, migration of 50 production units of General Motors in the rural US. So first things first. I would say, is this factories? The migration of 50 General Motors factories in the rural US directly or indirectly created more than 25,000 new jobs in 2016 and achieved twofold economic growth compared to the previous fiscal year. Use previous, it's much better. But whose growth is this? Are we talking about GDP, the country's growth? Are we talking about the industry growth or just General Motors growth? I need to know whose growth doubled. Furthermore, the newly established companies in the countryside generally tend to meet their annual turnover targets due to easy availability of raw materials and a cheaper workforce. A cheaper workforce. Then I would use a thus or a therefore on the end, just to say, just to comment on the fact that these positives are essentially the point of the policy. The policy seeks these positives. It is promoting the economic growth that was experienced here. So let's tie it all together with a thus sentence at the end. On the other hand, new branches of an organization may be doubtful to deliver prompt services. Or let's say, may struggle to deliver prompt services. I can see your meaning here, but this is not quite right. New branches of an organization may struggle to deliver prompt services. This is due to the fact that these... I would say... new establishments. These new establishments lack adequate facilities and fully trained workers. So what a new place lacks is often adequate facilities, but the time spent training staff is necessarily lower. It's smaller because it's a new place. There's not been very much time there. So they lack adequate facilities and fully trained staff. For instance, the IMF reported a 30% drop in the quality of service in new regional banks in China in the last fiscal year. In addition to the deterioration of service, many companies undoubtedly face fierce competition from others and are forced to invest. Try not to use the word huge. It's really American, and this is a British Council exam. And in formal English writing, we wouldn't use the word huge. We would say a large amount of capital. forced to invest a large amount of capital on the setup of new infrastructure. I would make sure here that we say, when compared with established banks. So a 30% drop against what? What marker are we measuring that against? I'm guessing that you mean against established banks. So new banks performed badly against established banks by a factor of 30%. So we need to just refer to the statistic slightly more clearly. This may result in exponential growth for products and service costs. This may result in exponential growth. You could have in. So this could result in, not into, in exponential growth. So we can take out the to and the an. In exponential growth in product and service costs, which ultimately affects the end users. Good. Overall, a company's migration could have a plethora of beneficial and detrimental effects on society, or throughout society, the local economy, and the wider market. Let's give a big idea. Society, the local economy, and the wider market. Hence, it is prognosticated that the government should meticulously carry out feasibility studies before making such important decisions in the future. Cool. My only suggestion here would be to put should carry out meticulous feasibility studies. Describe the study and not, because here you've said they should meticulously, so you're describing how they should do their job. And in academic essays, we try not to give stern instruction to people. We understand that we can't just tell people what to do. We can make a recommendation about the fact that the feasibility study should be meticulous, but we can't say anything about how they carry out their behaviour. You can't say that someone should quietly walk down the street. It's entirely their choice. So here in this letter, we are having to write to a friend to say, oops, I'm not going to be there, I'm sorry, you're going to have to do it yourself. So it's a last minute we're informing them last minute that we cannot do the favour that we promised. Now in English, that's a matter for politeness. We need to make sure that we're very apologetic, that we accept the responsibility for the hardship we have caused somebody else, and that we attempt to fix it. So my first pointer would be not to open with a question. I would put, I hope you are well. Express your hope that they're doing okay, but this person in this letter cannot answer your question immediately. So don't use a question. Instead just say, I do hope you are doing well. I guess you're now preparing backpacks for your trip. As we talked the last time, I was supposed to pick you up at the airport. Unfortunately, my company has urgently rescheduled a business meeting on the same day as your arrival, and I am afraid that I can no longer drive you from the airport. So this lets him know that it's a change. Comma, and I am afraid that I can no longer drive you from the airport. Or give you a lift. If you were talking to a friend, you would offer them a lift. Can I have a lift to the airport? Yes, I will give you a lift to the airport. It's informal, between friends. After claiming your baggage, you can go straight to the exit A. I would remove this. Straight to exit A and catch the airport shuttle bus number 17A. I would say it stops at the terminus, just a couple of blocks from my place. It stops at the terminus, just a couple of blocks from my place. Although I won't be at home, don't worry, I've made other arrangements. I've already made other arrangements. Let's give him some confidence. It has already been taken care of. I've already made other arrangements. I'll give the main door keys to my next door neighbour Richard. You know, the guy with whom we went to China we went to China last year, so we don't need this. You could say we went on the China trip last year, or we went to China last year. I'll probably be back home by 7 PM. Until then, you can have a good rest, or have a nice rest in the guest room. I've put some beverages and foods in the fridge. I would say I've put some snacks and drinks in the fridge. Or there's some snacks and drinks in the fridge for you. Feel free to help yourself to snacks and drinks. After I arrive home, we can go to the Olympic Park, which is the best place to hang out in the evening, because give him a little hint, give him a sample. What are we expecting at the Olympic Park? Why is it so good? Have a safe trip, and sorry, or my apologies for messing about, or my apologies for the mix-up, or my apologies for the sudden changes. Make sure you finish off with, hey pal, I'm really sorry, I messed up, and I fixed it. This other person needs to know that the bad thing that's happened has already gone away, and that you are sorry for the mix-up. So finish with a nice little apology. But if I were to grade these, you are quite happily getting a 7.5 to an 8, as far as I'm concerned here. I think in the exam, take your time, relax, and you may very well come out with something like an 8 if you really put the effort in. But it's been great correcting your work. I do hope to see you again soon. Do let us know your results. If you still have time before the exam, you can do another pack of essays if you like. There is a link in this email. But otherwise, do keep in touch. Have a wonderful time. I'll see you soon. Bye now.